Hey, folks, it's another episode of the Church Solutions Podcast, and my name is Phil Thompson.
And I'm Steve Lacy.
Episode number 365, at least if you're keeping score at home using Apple. Steve
We got a
Lacy.
year's worth.
We got a year's worth, yeah.
What do you know? It's only taken us, about 12, 14 years?
Yeah, I keep saying this. I know everybody's tired of hearing it, but we've done more than that. We just
I guess we got more than a year's worth, but
we got lots more.
Since we've been publishing on Apple, that's a year.
Yeah.
A year's worth.
Yeah. I just sent a picture over to you. Happy birthday. Today is Steve Lacy's birthday, folks.
Thank you.
I just found an old picture of you and I setting up a camera somewhere at one of the campuses that we had.
Yeah, to do this session. We called it a Thursday night stream. What was it? We streamed
I don't know. We didn't call it a video podcast, but that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
It was live. We did it live. And then we also
had guests. Similar format.
Yeah.
Actually dug one of those up not too long ago. I don't know how it showed up on YouTube or something. One that was like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I started listening to it and I was like, we did a pretty good job. We did a really decent job. Normally you look back on stuff and you go, oh my gosh, this is really bad.
Yeah, I think, we've been doing a good job over the years. I think we do a very good job. So we are in kind of mid-December here at the time we're recording this, and we're heading into a brand new year. 2023 is coming up. Can you believe that? It's almost here.
Couple weeks.
I know, a couple weeks. So, I was thinking as I was blogging, we have a blog and you can go to it anytime you want, blog.streamingchurch.tv. So I do most of the blogging, and I was thinking, all right, what should we blog about? It's almost January, and most people, a lot of people consider New Year's resolutions, right? And I like to do intentions, not resolutions, but I do intentions. But I was thinking in my brain, okay, what could we do? Well, everybody talks about New Year's resolutions. Let's do something a little different. Let's talk about some things that you may want to do differently in 2023 or not do at all.
These are things you don't want to do in 2023. I like that whole twist. These are things you don't want to do in 2023.
Yeah. And so this is targeted towards people in ministry, pastoral work, and volunteers. But really, even if you're not working with a church or volunteering with church, a lot of the stuff you can apply to your own life. So shall we jump into it?
Yes.
All right.
So then these are the top 10 things to not do in 2023. Number one is do not allow ministry to take important time away from your family.
Yeah. It's so easy. I think it's well known now that did ministry for over 4 decades. Mike makes fun of me because I'm so old, but it's easy to feel justified, we'll spend more time at the church and meet with that team leader or even a member during weird hours, and it's easy to justify that because we're, quote, serving God. And it's easy to just fall into that trap. Like, well, I'll serve God. And as long as I serve God, he'll take care of my family. And I know people, I've been involved in ministry with people that have had that idea. Like, as long as I serve God, give it all to God, he'll take care of my family. Can I just say, wrong?
Well, it was last week, right? We interviewed our guest, Lori, and her goal was to not marry a pastor. And I think it's for the same reason that, the pastor's married to the church, and a lot of times they put the church first.
Yeah, it's easy. I've done it. I did that. I did that, many times. And so I'm just telling you right now, don't allow it to take away the important time with your family. Your family is important. Can God take care of your family? Well, yeah, God can take care of your family, but look, you're the person in the family. You've got to cooperate. You've got to, take time and spend quality time with your wife if you're married, or your kids if you have them.
All right,
if you're not married, then go for it. I mean, that's kind of what some people think. That's what Paul was saying.
Yeah.
Paul was saying that a lot of people think the Apostle Paul was talking about that. Like you shouldn't. There was some comment in the scriptures, and like maybe getting married isn't the best thing. But anyhow, I digress. So important is your family. That's what's important. So do not allow ministry to take important time away from your family. Number 2.
Do not allow day-to-day matters to keep you from planning the most compelling sermon series possible.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on with church life, and Sundays are important. There's other things that are very important too, other days of the week. But I think, when you're getting up in front of people, you want to encourage them, inspire them. And it's easy again to get distracted during the week, and you get things that come up and pop up. And so they take away from the energy that you need to put into preparing a message, preparing a talk.
Yeah. I would assume a lot of pastors, I've not been in this position, but where they develop kind of internal structured stuff, because you don't want to be Saturday night finishing up a message, right?
Yeah.
And so I would assume a lot of pastors put in place like, okay, office hours for off limit for everybody
Yeah.
to talk to me between, here and here. But
They should,
they
but
should, but they don't. Huh?
I know people that don't. I know
Yeah.
pastors that don't. I know they're running around Saturday evening trying to get something together. I know these people that do that. I used to, when I was a senior pastor, I literally would after the service was done, have lunch with my family. Maybe have lunch with somebody from the church with my family. But then in the afternoon, I would start working on the week. I would start working on the message coming up, and I allude to this later in this list. But I literally would. Sunday was a work day, and so again, I know it's exhausting. You're in front of people, and after you're done, you want to eat and just crash on the couch or watch the Packers play or something. I found that it's much better to just keep on trucking
All right.
and
Well, we'll
take
get to that
other
one,
days.
right?
Yeah, take other
That's
days off
down.
later.
So
Yeah.
number 3 on our list
Yeah.
is do not allow time wasters, people to pressure you into meeting with them during the week when you have more important priorities to accomplish. Guess this is
Well,
related, huh?
it's related, and I'm going to get flack here for saying, well, you're ignoring people. You're ignoring people. People are important in ministry, and so, but look, there are. If you've been doing this as long as I have, you know that there are some people that waste your time, and so you've got to discern who those people are, and then maybe you can hand them off. I'm not saying you abandon them completely, but maybe hand them off to another leader in the church, because you can be just chasing rabbits all day long with certain
I
people.
can imagine every ministry has their handful of these
Yeah.
kind of people, right?
Yeah. And again, we're talking about prioritizing your life, prioritizing your schedule, and there are just people that they need to be handed off to somebody else, or they just need to. I would have people, and I was pretty cold-hearted years ago, not cold-hearted now, of course,
No,
but
of course
but
not.
I would give somebody counsel, and I would meet them with them a couple times. And if they just didn't follow through with the counsel after a couple meetings, it's like, hey, come back and see me when you follow through with the things that we agreed upon, that you should be doing in your relationship or whatever it might be. You give them a couple chances, but hey, if they're not going to follow through and actually put into action some of the things that you have encouraged them to do, then, well, sorry, Charlie.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. People have different policies on this one, but do not give out your cell phone number and private email address to people who shouldn't have them.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that we've just mentioned. I mean, you can get distracted and people end up with your phone. And by the way, some people, they'll just give it out to other people, emails aren't quite as drastic, because I mean, if you're getting emails, you can always do something different with those, ignore them, whatever. And you can do the same thing with phone calls, I guess. But the problem is they're just, if your phone's always going off, it can be annoying, it can be distracting, and again, it comes down to discerning, who are the people that really should have access to me, and who are the people that probably shouldn't. And again, I know I'm going to get some pushback on this, like, well, everybody's important, and you want to make sure you're available to people, and there's ways to do that, and meet people's needs, and without them draining you and taking away from your family and from the church.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it can definitely cause some issues, I think, having that info. I don't know if there's any pastors out there that have changed their cell phone. I'm sure they've changed their email address because we run into those guys every day, right?
Yeah, they don't want to hear from us. No, yeah, it's and again, this is all about understanding what's important. And again, I just want to emphasize, not saying people aren't important, but there's a time and a place to have some relationship with some of these people. And again, maybe somebody else needs to pick up the ball.
Yeah.
It's not
All
just
right. So number 5, you were talking about this one. Do
yeah.
not ignore planning your week's top 5 to 6 priorities on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Look, I know everybody's different and I know schedules are different. So, you don't necessarily have to follow my lead here. As I mentioned earlier, I would work Sunday afternoons. You don't have to do that. But the bottom line is, you're really, and I don't know if I think I have this a little bit later. Um, 40 hours really should be enough. I mean, if you have to go a little longer than 40 hours, that's fine during the week, to work on your messages, to do the things required of you as a pastor or an administrator, or, those things. There's only so much time that you have in life. And so, don't just drain it all and then frantically try to get it done, you know, at the end of the week. And
Yeah.
so, you
This,
can try to put 16 hours in Saturday night or whatever. I mean, that's
yeah.
just,
This is, and the personalities will vary, but this is very much my style. Or I aspire to this style, I guess, because I'm a list guy, and putting the list together, and I don't do here's the top things I'm going to accomplish this week, but I have every day a list for every day of the week, and I manage that list as I go through the week. So to a certain extent, I do it. So, but it's important, I think, to kind of look at the big picture things and go, oh, I'm going to prioritize this, and I'm going to make sure that this happens, even if it's not a fun one. For me,
yeah.
I'm a list guy. I'm like, ooh, let's go do this one. This one will be fun and easy and quick. And then I can move on to this other one and ignore this one that's going to be really hard. But then you find you're, 3 weeks in and you haven't done it. And you're like, oh gosh, got to go get, got to make it happen.
Yeah. Somebody said you should front load the beginning of your week with some of the heavy stuff and get that accomplished, and then as the week winds down, maybe get some of the easier stuff. So,
yeah, it's they say that how you eat your meals, right? You eat your favorite stuff first, or you eat your favorite stuff last. So
yeah,
you get that.
yeah, and again, there's stuff. Look, when you were talking about a list, I mean, we as a company, we use Asana. And I think it's a great opportunity, great tool to use, not only for ourselves personally, but to kind of keep track on what's going on with each other and everybody on the team. So, there's lots of software out there and things you can do. I mean, you could physically write out a list, which is what I used to do back in 1994, but you could put stuff on your phone and get an app or something. And,
and there's systems that the businesses are using that the church should use as well. I mean, Slack and Asana, and there's a bunch of different tools out there that's just going to make your organization more efficient.
Yeah, and I think we may have done a podcast on this, but if we haven't, we probably should. Yeah, I mean, if you guys can get, if your church, your leadership can get, something like Slack or Asana or something like that, everybody's kind of tied into it. It can really eliminate a lot of needless emails, and it can keep everybody abreast on what's happening. And okay, so and so met with this person, good. So and so is doing this project, and you can kind of keep an eye on everybody, so to speak,
and prioritize things. That's
yeah.
All right. Number 6 on your list is top 10 things to not do in 2023 is do not work on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah. And again, as I alluded to earlier, this may be different for everybody, but you want to trust that if you're doing it right and you're being consistent, you should be able to get most of your stuff done in 40 hours, maybe 50. I used to work with David McAllister, as you know, over there at what I think it's called the Bridge now, but And he was real big on this. He goes, 40 hours, maybe 50, but that's it. And I think that's true. And so, like, the schedule that I always enjoyed, and I think your pastor does this as well, which is probably where I got it, is, you work Sunday through Thursday, and then you have Fridays off. And was it Thursday? And I think they do Thursdays and Fridays, don't
Yeah,
they?
they have
Because they have a
Saturday
service on
service
Saturday.
to
Yeah.
Saturday. So yeah, they work
Yeah.
Saturday through Wednesday.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
On their staff. So, everybody's a little different, but the big idea here, don't miss the big idea. Don't get caught up in this whole thing. Like, well, I don't want to work Sunday. Well, okay. But you want to be consistent and put in the hours and then have time off. So you can, I wrote about this a few months ago for pastors, get the time off, and we'll get into this here in a moment. So, because you need that time off, you're not always running around like crazy chasing your tail. It's called burnout. Don't let that happen.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So number 7, things to not do in 2023. Do not rush through the week. So what do you mean by that?
It's so easy to get caught up, especially when there's a lot going on, when there usually is, if you're involved in church work, even as a volunteer. There's a lot going on, and it's easy to get caught up in things and not enjoy the experience, good or bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's some keywords you had in the notes here that struck me, which slow down and be present in every situation, because I am very guilty of this a lot of times, where I'll do it, I'll be there or whatever, but I'm really not there, and and you're just thinking about something else, or preoccupied with something else. But this is you're talking about be present in whatever situation you're in, and give people their full attention and your whole being there.
Mindfulness is another word for it, I think. My wife kind of cringes whenever I talk about being fully present and mindful, but for her, that's never, I guess, been an issue. But for me, it was an issue. And just because I was a busy type of person, going from one task to the other, and just I always had a lot on my plate, and I always prided myself in getting a lot done. But as you just said, you sometimes miss out, and you miss out on really the enjoyment of the experience. And even if something's not enjoyable, being able to be present and embrace the moment, even the feelings, like, okay, I am sad, I'm in despair here because something happened that I wasn't, it's okay to slow down and just kind of get in touch with yourself. I know that sounds kind of gushy, but it's important.
I spent almost 30 years in the corporate life, and there was a guy that was somewhat of a mentor to me and some other guys that were being kind of raised up as leaders in the company. And this guy was just so good at listening and being present that everybody just relished time with this guy. So he just had it nailed, where he was just fully there, and his time was fully about you, and everybody walked away with like, man, this guy knows me like a brother, and I only talked to him for 5 minutes. So yeah.
I remember taking a picture which got some traction on Facebook at one of the churches I was working at, and it was we were done with all the pre-rehearsals and stuff and all the stuff before the service started, and there was about 8 or 9 people sitting in the back row waiting for the service to start, but everybody was like this. And if you're looking at video, I've got my phone up to my face. Everybody was just looking at their phones. They weren't in touch with each other. They weren't really noticing people walking in. They were just staring at their phones. And it's so easy today to do, right? I mean, you got this little computer in front of your face, and you're looking at Instagram videos and stuff like that. And it's just, you miss out. And as a result, you lose empathy. And you lose sympathy and empathy for people. And when you slow down and embrace everything, you'll find yourself being kinder to yourself as well as others.
Yeah. I can definitely resonate with that. I got a big family and everybody's guilty of that.
Everybody's staring at their phones, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
it's true.
frustrating for me.
Yeah, well, it is, you
Like,
know.
oh, there's something more important going on than me being in the room with them.
Well, yeah, you know, it makes the other person feel, you know, like they're not valued, you know, and so
Oh, very much
yeah,
so.
yeah. So slow down. So
All
do
right.
not
So,
rush through the week. That was the one we were talking about.
all right. So number 8, do not be underpaid for your job.
So um, I found it for many, you know, the headlines out there, you know, or sometimes you get these headlines of people making pastors that are making millions of dollars and all this stuff, but that's not the norm. And the norm, I haven't looked up recent stats on this, but I'd be willing to bet that most pastors are probably underpaid, depending on the amount of the size of their church
Yeah.
and the work that they put in.
You would think, oh, this is the CEO of this organization of 100 people. They should be paid really well, right? It's kind of if you were to take it over outside of ministry terms, because that is the role. They're the leader, the head of they're not the head of the church, but they're the leader of the
Well,
church.
they lead the church, or they're
Yeah.
the lead person,
Yeah.
and but it's easy to underpay your pastors, to underpay your staff,
Yeah.
and it's easy because many times there's this thing about, well, it's ministry. They're serving God, and you
Yeah.
know God requires sacrifice and those kind of things. It's easy to fall into that trap, but the bottom line is these people, if they're doing a good job and they're doing what's important, then they should be compensated fairly for it. That's all we're
Yes.
saying.
Yes. All right. Number 9 on the things to not do next year. Do not believe it all depends on you.
Yeah, it's I fell into this trap, especially in Kansas, uh, because in some ways I felt like, but this all depends on me. Is this thing's either going to float or it's not, you know? And so I worked my butt off, and the truth is, I needed to be responsible, but I needed to also be responsible for taking care of my family and understanding that, hey, this is not all on me. You know, I'm raising up team people here. I've got other people in the church. Yeah, I'm important as a senior pastor, or if you're not a senior pastor listening to this, whatever position you're in your church or volunteer, yeah, you're very important. But it doesn't all depend on you. It doesn't all depend on you. I mean, you know, it really is God's church, right? And
Mhm.
so that's not an excuse to just throw your hands up and walk away and not take responsibility. But the bottom line is, many times we go to the other extreme, and we got this heavy burden, you know, and I got to get this thing done, and if this doesn't succeed, it's going to fail, and it's going to be on me, and it's going to be, you know, a lot of it's pride and ego.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. So we're about out of time. Actually, we're out of time here. We got number 10 here. Do not stop learning and growing.
Yeah, we'll close with this one. Everybody. I don't care what you do in life, what occupation you have, or even if you're not working somewhere, you need to really continue to learn and grow. And there's all sorts of ops out there, apps and opportunities for you to grow and learn about something. If you're in ministry, you know, go to retreats, read a book on a topic you might not even agree on. You might even have some conversations with people that hold different viewpoints than you do on certain things, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. And so, you know, don't stop learning and growing. It's 2023 coming up. Keep moving forward.
I just watched I watched World Magazine, and they had a thing on the elderly actually in, I think, Vietnam, learning a second language.
Yeah.
So they were
Wow.
all geared for the elderly,
Yeah.
and one of the people talked. He said, "This is the way you keep your mind sharp. Is you got to focus and work on learning new stuff."
Yeah, and that's very important, especially now that you're getting old. You got a birthday
That's
today, so
right.
you know
That's right.
you're getting old. All right, so there's plenty of things that will distract us from life. Maybe you can add to this do not list and apply it where it goes with your life. Before we leave here, Steve, we've got a great offer where churches can receive a $200 donation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we are committed to ministry, so we're going to donate to your ministry for streaming your services live using our system. So no cost. You just create a no cost free trial, no credit card required. And if you stream a service or stream your services, and embed the stream on your site and have somebody show up, we'll donate $200 to your church.
Now, obviously, this is for new customers, people that have never done a free trial with us, don't have an account with us. Just go to streamingchurch.tv and create a free trial, and you could get $200 donated directly to your church just for streaming a couple weekends.
Yes,
It's that
sir.
simple. It's that simple. All right, we're done here. Steve, thank you very much.
Glad to be here.
And I'm Phil Thompson. Thank you for listening or watching the Church Solutions Podcast. Be sure and rate us, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, the Church Solutions Podcast. We come to you almost every week. So please do so. And we'd love to hear back from you. Have yourselves a great day. Take care of yourselves and each other. And a Happy New Year.